Welcome to Decoding Ancient Technologies, where every ruin tells a story. Today, we confront a shocking truth. The machine that survived 2,000 years.
You are diving 150 feet beneath the surface of the cold Aegean Sea, off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera.
The sunlight is fading, leaving only the deep blue of the ocean to embrace an ancient shipwreck graveyard.
Amidst marble statues and broken pottery, you spot a lump of green, rusty material, looking like nothing more than an inanimate limestone rock.
Do you ever wonder if impossible is just a word we use for a technology we were never meant to understand?
So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you find the journey we're about to take a worthy one. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments, and which artifact you believe is the best proof of advanced ancient technology.
Now, let's journey back and deconstruct the narrative of a lost world. Fast forward to a museum laboratory in Athens. That lump of rock is sitting before you. But when X-rays and CT scanning technology penetrate the corroded shell, you don't see stone. You see a historian's nightmare. Inside that encrusted shell are gears. Not one, but dozens of bronze gears. You are looking at triangular teeth, cut perfectly, with dimensions measuring only a few millimeters.
This is 1901, and the world is shocked. But look at the date of the shipwreck, approximately 60 to 70 BC.
Let this sink in. You are looking at a machine with the complexity of an 18th century Swiss watch, yet it rests inside a Roman-era ship.
This is the non-human paradox. Mainstream history states that at that time, humans only had sundials and water clocks. Precision metal gear technology like this was not supposed to exist for another 1,500 years. It is like finding a jet engine in the tomb of King Tutankhamun. Look closer at the gears through the 3D scan data. They show no signs of rough craftsmanship.
The teeth are uniform. The spacing is mathematically consistent. If a craftsman of that era used hand files, errors would...
This mechanical perfection suggests an industrial manufacturing process, or at least the assistance of optical tools, and you are touching an out-of-place artifact. It is not a gradual evolution of Greek engineering.
It appeared suddenly, complete, and superior. Its presence breaks every linear timeline that textbooks have taught you.
This is not a Roman toy. This is the hardware of a civilization that mastered precision mechanics millennia.
But those gears didn't just spin to count the hours. You are beginning to realize that you are looking at a hardwired data processor designed to simulate the universe. Look at the front face of the mechanism. You see pointers indicating the position of the sun and the moon in the zodiac. But it doesn't stop there. A sophisticated mechanism inside, known as the pin and slot mechanism, allows the moon pointer to change its rotation speed.
Sometimes fast, sometimes slow. Why did this matter? Because the moon actually moves like that in the sky.
It follows an elliptical orbit, not a perfect circle. This is called the lunar anomaly.
Western astronomers had to wait until Johannes Kepler published the laws of planetary motion in the 17th century to truly understand elliptical orbits.
But this machine, lying dormant under the sea since the 1st century BC, simulated that complex.
This is the cosmic code. The creators didn't just observe the sky with the naked eye.
Now, flip the machine over in your mind. The back face contains 2 large spiral dials, dense with inscriptions. One is for the Metonic cycle, a 19-year cycle to synchronize the lunar and solar calendars. The other is for the Saros cycle, a period of 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours used to predict solar and lunar eclipses accurately. Pay attention to the gear tooth counts. The main gear has 223 teeth. Another has 127 teeth. These are prime numbers.
In mechanical engineering, working with prime numbers is a nightmare. because they cannot be subdivided or cut corners with.
You cannot divide a circle into 127 equal parts using just a ruler and compass.
You need advanced mathematics and absolute precision dividing technology. The fact that they chose to use these difficult numbers proves they weren't estimating.
They were encoding exact cosmic constants into metal. This machine knew the exact length of a synodic month down to the second. It knew when the sky would go dark due to an eclipse, decades before it happened, and even predicted the color of that eclipse.
You aren't looking at a toy or a decorative clock. You are looking at humanity's first analog computer.
It holds knowledge of celestial mechanics that we thought was lost for over a millennium after the fall of Rome.
It proves that the ancients didn't look up at the stars as angry gods,
but as variables in a massive mathematical equation that they had completely solved.
Pause for a moment and think about how technology evolves. Look at the smartphone in your hand.
It didn't appear by magic. It is the descendant of large brick phones. Before that, rotary phones. And before that, the primitive telegraph. The history of technology is an upward slope, paved with thousands of failed versions, prototypes, and primitive designs. But when you look at the Antikythera mechanism, you are looking at an exception that breaks this rule.
You are facing the absolute silence of evolution. Archaeologists have dug across the Mediterranean for centuries.
They found millions of pottery shards, weapons, and jewelry. But they have never found version 1.0 of this machine.
Where are the crude gears?
The Antikythera mechanism appears in the archaeological record like a lightning bolt out of a clear blue sky.
Perfect, complex, and miniaturized right from the first instance. This goes against every logic of technical development.
You cannot wake up one morning in the Bronze Age and decide to build a differential computer without going through centuries of failure and refinement. The absence of predecessors suggests one of two disturbing possibilities. Option 1, a golden age of mechanics where every piece of physical evidence has been wiped out completely, except for this lucky shipwreck.
Option 2, far more chilling. This technology wasn't developed, it was inherited.
There are whispers in ancient texts. Cicero, the Roman orator, once wrote about a device made by Archimedes that could simulate the movements of the sun,
moon, and planets. But text is just text. Until Antikythera was found, modern scholars dismissed. They didn't believe the ancients were capable of it. But now, with the physical evidence right before your eyes, you have to ask, is this Archimedes' device? Or was Archimedes also just an heir to an even older blueprint? The sophistication of the gears, with tiny triangular teeth withstanding friction, shows a metallurgical.
You are looking at an orphan device. It has no parents in the archaeological record, and it has no children.
After this ship sank, this technology vanished from Europe for over 1,000 years. Humanity slid back into darkness. Is this machine the last remnant of a collapsed advanced civilization? Or a technological gift we never truly understood how to replicate?
If you think predicting eclipses is impressive, what you are about to discover will tear up your engineering history book.
We need to talk about a specific component buried deep in the heart of this machine, the differential gear.
Think about a modern car. When you turn a corner, the outer wheels must spin faster than the inner wheels to keep the car from skidding.
To do that, we need a differential. Official history records that in 8 hours, look back at the X-ray of the Antikythera mechanism. What are you seeing? A complete, perfectly functioning differential gear. This isn't just advanced.
Living in the age of chariots and bronze swords, visualize a mechanical concept that humanity would take nearly 2,000 years to reinvent.
It implies a knowledge gap that shouldn't exist. In this machine, the differential isn't used for driving a vehicle.
It is used to perform subtraction. Picture this. One gear rotates according to the sun's position. Another gear rotates according to the moon's position. The machine uses the differential to take the speed of the moon. This is an intellectual leap. The builders weren't just crafting machinery. They were performing mechanical algebra. They physicalized abstract mathematics. They understood that you could take two moving variables, feed them into a metal processor, and receive a completely new third variable.
The existence of this differential proves they weren't just copying nature. They had controlled the mathematical principles of motion.
It forces you to ask, did we truly invent modern technology, or are we just slowly remembering what was forgotten?
So, if this isn't a clock, what is it? A clock is a passive device. It hangs on a wall and tells you what is happening right now.
But as you reach out in your imagination to grasp the small hand crank on the side of the Antikythera Mechanism, you realize its true power.
By turning that crank, you can travel through time. You can spin it forward to see the sky as it will look 10, 20, or 50 years from now. You can spin it backward to check the position of Mars on the day your grandfather was born.
It transforms time from a flowing river into a navigable map. You have total control over the fourth dimension.
This brings us to its most chilling function: prophecy. In the apes doesn't whirl event. It could mean the fall of a king, a famine, or a war. To know when an eclipse would happen.
The Antikythera Mechanism was a prophetic computer. Look closely at the eclipse dial again. The inscriptions don't just give you the date and time.
They give you the attributes. The text deciphered by the latest AI imaging reveals that the machine predicted the color of the eclipse,
The angular size of the shadow, and the wind direction during the event.
Think about the psychological impact of that. A priest or a ruler holding this box could stand before a crowd and say,
On this specific day, at this specific hour, the sun will turn blood red.
And then, years later, it happens exactly as he said.
To the common person, this box was magic. It was a direct line to the gods. But to you, the observers.
But it didn't just track the gods, it tracked men. There is a small subsidiary dial that tracks the Olympiad. It suggests that for the builders, there was no difference between the laws of physics and the laws of society. Everything was a cycle. Everything could be calculated. You are realizing that this device was likely the most powerful object in the ancient world. It was a simulator.
Just as modern scientists use supercomputers to model climate change or nuclear reactions, the ancients used this to model their reality. It stripped away the chaos of the world and reduced fate to a series of predictable mechanical clicks.
Why would you build a computer? Not a calendar, but a computer. You don't build a device, this is correct. You build it because you are going somewhere, and you cannot afford to get lost.
We must look at the form factor. The Antikythera Mechanism wasn't a massive statue or a wall carving.
This shifts the narrative from temple artifact to tactical equipment. You are uncovering the off-world purpose. While historians argue it was an educational tool for a wealth philosopher, the engineering suggests something far more practical: navigation.
In the ancient world,
the deadliest enemy wasn't a storm, it was longitude.
You could tell how far north or south you were by the stars, but knowing how far east or west you were required knowing the exact time at a reference point.
This problem was so hard that it wasn't officially solved until the 18th century, with the invention of the marine chronometer.
But you are holding a device that tracks the absolute position of celestial bodies with gear-tooth precision.
If you have this box on a ship, and you turn the crank to match the current position of the moon, the dials tell you the exact time.
It gives you your coordinate in time, which gives you your coordinate in space.
But here is the anomaly. The device tracks the planets: Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury. It tracks their retrograde motion, the strange optical illusion where planets seem to move backward in the sky.
Ask yourself, why? A sailor on the Mediterranean doesn't need to know the retrograde cycle of Mars to get from Athens to Alexandria.
That data is useless for terrestrial sailing. That data is only useful if you are tracking the mechanics of the solar system itself.
You are looking at a navigational interface that exceeds the needs of its environment. It's like using a supercomputer to calculate a grocery bill.
This suggests that the map inside this machine wasn't just for the surface of the Earth. Could it be that the Antikythera Mechanism wasn't just observing the stars, but pointing to them? If you align the device with the horizon,
it becomes a targeting computer.
Some theorists argue that this level of planetary data is what you would need for celestial navigation, not just looking up from the ocean,
but navigating between the bodies it tracks.
The text on the cover calls it a tablet, but as you stare at the intricate planetary pointers, it feels more like a dashboard.
it is a cockpit instrument for a vessel we have yet to find. You are standing in the National Archaeological Museum, Athens, looking at the 82 fragments of corona. But as you stare at the reconstructed models spinning beside it, you feel a strange realization washing over you. Think about the journey this device has taken. It survived a shipwreck that crushed marble statues.
It survived 2,000 years of saltwater corrosion. It survived being ignored in a museum basement for decades. It waited.
It waited for us to invent X-ray tomography, 3D modeling, and high-resolution scanning.
It waited for us to become technologically advanced enough just to see it. This is the waiting legacy. It challenges the arrogance of the modern world. We look at the past as a time of superstition and darkness. Yet here lies...
It proves that the ladder of progress we believe in might actually be a wheel, a cycle where civilizations rise to incredible heights of engineering,
only to fall and forget everything, leaving behind only durable black boxes like this one.
But there is a lingering feeling that we are still missing something. There are missing gears. There are gaps in the inscriptions.
Is it possible that the Antikythera Mechanism is incomplete on purpose? Some theorists suggest it is part of a larger system.
It's a modular component of a much grander machine that we haven't found yet. Or perhaps the missing piece isn't a gear at all.
Perhaps the missing piece is the specific astronomical coordinate, a date in the future that aligns all the pointers to unlock a final message.
You look at the gears one last time. They are not just bronze. They are a testament to human potential that was cut short.
It is a save file from a game we stopped playing. Now that we have finally decrypted the manual, the question is no longer, how did they build it?
The question is, what happens when we turn it back on?
The machine is patient. It has tracked the stars for 2 millennia in the dark.
It is ready to run again. Are we?
The lights of the museum dim, but the image of those gears burns into your mind.
We started this journey looking at a lump of rusty rock, and we ended it staring into the face of a forgotten master. The Antikythera Mechanism forces us to rewrite the story of us. It strips away the illusion that we are the first masters of the machine.
It stands as a silent, ticking monument to a time when science and magic were the same thing. The ability to predict the pulse of the universe.
As you walk away, you can't shake the feeling that we haven't just discovered an artifact. We have recovered a memory.
The gears of history are turning again, and perhaps, just perhaps, we are finally catching up to our ancestors.